What's going on, everybody? It's Professor Gnome, and today we're going to be continuing the Banter Battle series with our next guest and somebody I'm really excited to be able to bring on, and that's COOLTRAINERPAT. Thanks for joining us.
But of course.
And so, yeah, what this is going to be, we're going to do a little bit for anyone who's new to the series, since it's only one episode so far. It's going to be an interview series with our guest as we both just kind of play back and forth. We're going to do a best 2 out of 3, kind of see who the winner can be. And yeah, we're going to get into it. But before we get started, I just want to give a special shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much for that additional level of support. Want to just give a shout out before every video for that. And I'm sure Pat would like to do the same for his.
Absolutely. You know who you are.
Yeah, so thank you guys for on both sides for that. It does mean a lot to both of us. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and get started in a second, and I will see you guys in game number 1. We'll jump into the match. And I'm excited to see what this deck is that we brought. Both of us don't know what we actually brought to the table, other than a mild explanation.
Yeah, they're both piles of garbage. That much we know.
Mine is certainly a pile of garbage, and that is literal. All right, coin flip.
I think I want to go first on this one. Spoiler alert if the screen on your side didn't tell you, but I did win the coin flip.
So he's going to be going first. Ooh, I like the Lugia sleeves.
Oh yeah, these are from Silver Tempest. I bought an ETB. That was like kind of when I got back into the game, I think. It was like Lost Origin Silver Tempest-ish era. Man, I do not know who I want to start with on this one.
Yeah, I think I got back into the game. I think it was Paldea Evolved, because Chenpao was a Pokemon that I just really, really liked from the new gen. It was one of my favorite Pokemon from the new gen, and I was just like, oh, there's a card for it. And at the time, I was getting out of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Just was way too expensive to keep up with anymore. And so I just kind of pivoted over. Chenpao at the time was super cheap to play, and so that just kind of took over for me.
Yeah, I'm also not an immediate Yu-Gi-Oh! Refugee, like kind of how you described. I played GOAT format era. I guess it wasn't called GOAT format back then. It was just the format. And sorry, I'm trying to make complicated decisions here. And okay, that's good. And I would love to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Again or some more, but what you just said doesn't sound that hype. And also, I think that oh shoot, I forgot to put Ultra Balls in this list. Oh well. Yeah, I think also the online clients are expensive to play. Like they're kind of Pokemon Pocket-ish. Like you have to like, it's a little easier to play PTCGL, which is what I like. The crafting is super cheap.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll see how that goes in the future, but for now it is. The main thing with the online Pokemon ladder, honestly, is that, or sorry, the online space for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that there are ways to play it for free, but they're like more for like competitive testing and like more like competitive play than normal. If you wanted to play something like Duel Links or Master Duel or something like that, it's a grind, man. And the other part too is like it's desynced from the normal tabletop play. So there's a different ban list, there's different cards available. So it's cool that it creates like its own format, but it's not one-to-one like how you can play live to actually test. So that definitely holds it back in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually speaking of that though, what is, I guess to get into like one of our first questions for this, I'd be curious to know, like, you've been on YouTube now for like a decent, I would say like a good amount of time. What has that kind of journey been like in terms of staying evolved with the card game as it's gone on, as a creator rather than just a casual player?
Well, first thing, I'm glad you bring that up because I was actually looking at my channel and I sorted it by like oldest video, and they start saying like 2 years ago. I don't think it's gotten to 3 years yet, and I was just like, dang, like I remember recording my first video because during that Lost Origin ish era, I was obsessed with Galarian Wheezing. Like when I played Yu-Gi-Oh, I liked burn decks. So I don't know if you played during that time, but like stuff like Gravity Bind, Messenger of Peace, like these cards that basically say you can't attack, and then I just like chip away at your or what is it called, life points, with other cards. So Galarian Wheezing was like kind of like that. It turned off abilities and then did like extra poison damage. But when I started, well, first of all, my inspiration to start was Dark Integral Gaming. I had followed his channel for years before I started, and I never played IRL. I just liked I just didn't have time for it, but that's what I loved about the online client. I mean, I remember even when I was like a kid, wanting to make a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh decks, like, because that's what my channel is making a bunch of weird rogue stuff, and that's what I wanted to do as a kid, but I couldn't like buy all the cards and there was no digital client. So when I found out about the digital client, I was like, it's my childhood dream. I honestly don't know why I decided to do the channel, other than I just liked rogue decks, and that was kind of it. And all right, you're already doing a bunch of damage, so this is terrifying. And your attacks are cheap. I know that the smart play was to go with Terapagos EX, but I just wanted to make Lugia a thing, so we're going for it. We'll see.
As long as you don't have the double colorless, I think I'm okay. So don't have it.
I don't run the double colorless. I lean into the lightning, grass, water to get the potential alternative Terapagos for those basic only matchups.
Got it.
Yeah, but hopefully I can dang. Hopefully you don't get to what you need to get. How does this work? They're out of your hand? Oh god.
Yeah, and so you can run the 151 Snorlax with the
Right.
to pick up the leftovers.
Yeah, I did that with Rotom V-Star a while ago.
Yeah, I love this deck.
Hmm.
I'm so happy that I can play it again.
I'm thinking I'm gonna just like, I kind of just have to hope that this Crushing Hammer works. I have to go for another one. But big shout out in terms of like running the channel and how it's been going. Nice. Now you need an energy and tools, so fingers crossed on that one. Big shout out to my followers, subs, members, all of them, because they will, aside from me just like finding my own decks, it really helps when they submit decks, because it's tough coming up with like a bunch of different ideas and having to source them from, like, I'll get decks from Japan, I'll make decks myself, and then people will submit them. But yeah, that I don't know. I don't even remember the question anymore.
No. Yeah, actually, to kind of go off that though, I remember watching Dark Integral Gaming when I also was like joining into the space a long time ago, because I still played the Pokemon TCG casually while I was predominantly a Yu-Gi-Oh player, and so like I remember watching his channel forever ago. And even now, like, still keeping up with it when I got started, just kind of looking for inspiration and things like that. So it's funny that you mentioned that. No, all my tools.
Yes.
No, I needed those. One of the other things as well, is you brought up that, like, your channel at this point is getting to that like 2-year marker. Something that I think is kind of interesting with that is I've been watching your content now for a little bit, and then also I knew that we were going to be doing this, so I actually went back all the way to like the beginning and like watched through everything. Not every single video, because I didn't have enough time for that, but I did watch a lot of them. And one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting is that you've changed up your style a good amount of times throughout that period, not just in like the thumbnail creation and stuff like that, but also just kind of how you, I guess the easiest way to describe it is like kind of how you present yourself, in the sense of like now you've gone back to having no like no face cam and stuff like that. And what's kind of, I guess I would be curious to know like what kind of inspired those like style changes.
Okay, so I think the trajectory is no face to regular face. I don't even know if I had sunglasses when I did OG regular face, to James wig and sunglasses, to no James wig, still sunglasses, to no face again. Um, and so I would say there's a couple aspects of all of them. One is I like anonymity. That's why I went with the sunglasses and the wig at first because it was away from. But here's the thing: I like anonymity, but I also like kind of like a flamboyant sense of style, I guess. Um, like David Bowie or like Lou Reed. I'm a musician also.
Hmm.
Um, so and I love James, so that's kind of why I went that way. Also, my thumbnail was James, and I was like, how funny would it be if like usually your thumbnail is like a picture of you, and I was like, what if? Oh, I need to start like playing the game. I was like, what if? Okay, we're gonna see if this works. We're just in coin flip mode. I think if I knock you out, it'll still discard the energy if I flip heads. So that's my strategy on that. I'm chit chatting so much. I'm like, I mean, this is kind of how I go. I always make misplays in my videos too because I talk too much. Let's go with this. So yeah, that explains the style. That explains the changes so much. The wig got hot. That was like number one reason why I stopped wearing it. Is it was hot and I get migraines and it was like either making my migraines happen or making them worse. Um, but again, for the memes, like I loved looking like my thumbnail, and I still keep the thumbnail, but I still have the James cosplay too. I have not used it ever, but there could be a time. I have the full Team Rocket outfit too. So
Oh, really? That's awesome.
yeah, I'd only cosplayed a couple times in my life as like a teenager. Once I was L from Death Note, and I can't remember the other one I did. But yeah. And back to No Face, kind of I got tired of like having to not look like garbage every time I nice. Um every time I wanted to record. So kind of just lazy mode, but I just switched only a couple weeks ago. I'm open to coming back, but I also used to only wear my Adidas tracksuit in videos. I don't know if you picked up on that. I had like a
No, I
uniform.
didn't. That's pretty
And
funny.
that's because one, I just loved tracksuits. Um I'm uh highly influenced by Sopranos tracksuit style and like Latin American political leaders. They like to
Hmm.
wear tracksuits. I grew up with like my Latin side of the family big fans of certain people. I'm not going to get into the history and politics stuff, but I've seen a lot of dudes in tracksuits growing up. So,
Got
um,
it.
yeah, and I was like, oh, well, cool trainers in the Pokemon video games, they wear tracksuits. So, let's do that.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That was gonna be my other thing of like where the name had come from. Is that something that you developed just because of the channel, or is that like a name you've had for a while?
I liked in the video games that cool trainers were like well, I think they're called ace trainers now, but back in like Gen 1 and 2 they were called cool trainers, which one is just like a ridiculous like self full of oneself title to give yourself. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I said self a million times, um but also they were the only trainers who had multiple types of Pokemon in their like team. So I always thought that was like the only competent Pokemon trainers in the entire world.
Yeah, it
Let's
makes
give
sense.
this to. Can the Snorlax actually do stuff? Eh. I mean, what are the chances you get three energies on one?
Pretty low. Um, I was hoping that I would get into Sealstone. I could have Arvened for it, but then I thought it might just be better to have the leftovers.
Yep.
Um, we're in a bit of a pickle. The uh,
I
the early
I
Iono to shuffle all of my items to the bottom was a very good play.
yeah, I had two in hand and I was like, let me just wait. I was like, I don't need to play this now. I love how the game makes you flip coins even if there's no energies.
Yeah.
Um casual complaints about this client, but hey, we're here. It's working.
That is true. It is working, which is at least something. Let's do it like this. We'll go this.
I'm trying to think though, like everyone has a weird name in the PTCGL YouTube world. Like no one is just like Bob Johnson, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's like what is a Little Dark Fury? What is I mean For the Win is like I get it. That one's at least like referencing a game. Dark Integral Gaming, like that's got to be some math nerd joke that I don't understand.
Yeah, that's smarter than me.
Yeah. Professor Gnome.
So I actually, the reason why I have the name that I have, it actually comes from the Left 4 Dead series.
Yeah.
I think I talked about this in the last episode of this, but in the Left 4 Dead series, there's the level Dark Carnival, and there's inside of that, there's a trophy that you could get if you carried a gnome statue from the first level all the way to the end of the game. And if you got it, the achievement was called Garden Gnome. And so what happened was I was able to do that achievement on like the hardest difficulty solo. And it was really, really difficult, but I was a kid with, nothing else going on. So I was able to do it. And after that, because I had the achievement, I would be on like, random lobbies, and people would start to DM me about getting the achievement and like trying to help them get the achievement and stuff like that. And so I just kind of became known for getting that achievement.
Nice.
And so that it just kind of became born of its own accord.
Damn, I've only played Left 4 Dead like casually with friends, I guess I would describe it as. So I never had it myself. I also I'm a big scaredy pants. Like I don't like being scared, and I don't think that game's like particularly terrifying, but I'm like such a wuss.
I think there's definitely parts of it that can be I'll call them intense. I haven't played it since I was much younger, so maybe my perspective on it would change, but definitely there was some high intensity to that game in the past.
Dude, when I was a kid, I thought like Banjo-Kazooie was scary. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
no.
just I don't like horror movies. I don't like roller coasters. Yeah.
I can't blame you for that. All right, we're down to our last prize. This is where the comeback starts.
I think what's funny is this Snorlax gets through Terapagos' attack.
I think you one-shot me though.
He will, but honestly, I still feel like the matchup favors you. I think I got lucky on a lot of coin flips. Because once you get rolling, I also run 4 Ionos, which is helpful. Here, you hold this. So, in the aggregate, we'll see if I can bust out another dub.
There's I was going to say, the other thing that also kind of hurts is that I discarded my Super Rod early. And so I'm like, I don't remember. But I guess I did. And I was just out of Trubbishes, and I'm like, oh, oops.
Oh, that explains the Snorlax pivot.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm out of options. Let's go. But yeah, you take game 1. We'll pair it back up and jump into game 2 in a second. All right, we're gonna get into game number 2 here. I'm 0-1, but we're gonna bring it back. We'll bring it back.
Highly unlikely.
I don't know, man. The Lugia is powerful, but
I think just let me say this before we start. The Lugia tech, I guess it was like okay with the energies because it was like 1 energy to attack, but I kept getting rid of them. I hope that Lugia does well against an EV deck that needs very specific energies. That's kind of like what I'm resting my laurels. I don't know if that's the right way to use that, but that's what I'm leaning on.
All right. We'll be going first this time. Got a little bit of an advantage. But yeah, so to the next one of the other questions that I did want to ask is through your time in YouTube, because you have been around for a little while, what do you think has kind of been one of the biggest changes to your channel, or like the main inspiration for kind of doing it? Since I know a lot of people like over time get burnt out with just kind of the process, even though I can say like for myself it is fun and I love doing it, but there's definitely times where life gets in the way, things are kind of hectic. And so like what kind of keeps you motivated to show back up the next day?
So, well, it's definitely like the people and the community that's kind of formed around my channel. But I will say, like, speaking of the burnout part, so I used to work in the music industry for a while. I've managed artists, managed tours, managed music venues, and so there's like this side of my brain that's like obsessed with seeing numbers go up, so I can never take a break, and that's the part that like grinds me down. Do I even want this card? I guess whatever. But I started the channel because I love rogue decks and I love variety, and I describe it as I just want to do hood rat shit with my friends. Sorry, I guess I can't curse or not.
You're fine.
But I didn't have friends who played the card game, so like I had to do it online. And sorry, I'm like trying to think. This is where you trap me into making bad decisions by asking me questions on my turn.
I need every advantage I can get.
Yeah, for real. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. It's not the best, but at least I can end my turn and answer this question. Wait, nope, I can attack. Let's go. This deck is addicted to flipping coins. Yeah, it's like there's people who come on my stream or in the Discord in the comment section, and like I like to get to know people. I'm not gonna like dox anyone or anything, but like we talk about other hobbies, we talk about like what's going on where we live and like whatever else is going on in life, and I do the same as well. So that's nice because basically the whole point, to sum all this up, is like I don't have time to go to the card shop, so I have to build my own digital card shop.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a thing. I know for myself, like when I started the channel, or even like right now, like I'm able to go to locals, but very rarely. And so, and like even then, none of my actual friends play Pokemon, which is only frustrating because they play other card games. Like they're really into Magic and things like that, but I just like can't get them to play, which is sad in its own right, but it is what it is.
Is it from like a snobby point of view, or like what's their hang up?
No, they just like Magic, so they don't want to play something different. And, I respect that, to each their own. But I just cannot get them to play the Pokemon card game. And so it's just a thing where, like, for me, my biggest thing was, very similar to yours. When I started the channel, I was like, well, this is just a way for me to engage with the thing that I really enjoy in an avenue where, like, I can't otherwise. And so it's kind of just been a fun journey for me, honestly, just to be able to have a way to, experience the card game to another level and interact with a community that is... I personally am very fond of my community. Obviously, I'll be biased there. But just the outer Pokemon community in general, just having another outlet to engage with it was something that I just wanted to have. And so, that was the main inspiration for starting the channel.
Yeah, and it's also hard to like have a variety of decks in real life. I found myself like when I got into the game, and I think it was before the channel, was like I brought one deck to locals, like that Wheezing deck that I mentioned, and then I was like, I'm tired of this. I want to do something else. But now I have to like buy a bunch of cards, and then it rotates, and then I'm like, and like, so that's another reason for the channel. But my friends play video games, and they've gotten not into Pocket like deeply, but as much as you can, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And but they they think the Pokemon TCG proper is like too complex.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, and I mean, I guess it makes sense because they were both designed by Wizards, but I'm like, to me, it's like, okay, you guys already play Magic. Pokemon's just easier Magic.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, actually, that brings me to a point that I think is interesting and I kind of want to talk about, where, how do you feel like the introduction of Pocket has kind of helped or hurt the Pokemon, TCG Live space?
Well, I mean, I've heard, and this is all anecdotal. I don't have like statistics or anything, but anecdotally, I've seen in comment sections people talk about like, oh, I was playing Pocket, but I wanted a little bit more, so it was like a gateway drug, so to speak, for Pocket, or excuse me, for the actual trading card game. Um, but I I it's crazy because there's so many people playing Pocket, uh, and I think it's very confusing. Like, the fact that the Pocket app is so much better than this one, and that the cards are like same but different. And I think like for the brand, like, or I don't even know, like, on the one hand I said the thing about like the gateway drug, and I think that's a good thing. But then I also feel like it's maybe not super helpful to have like that kind of dynamic going on where it almost kind of makes the full game look bad sometimes. And maybe it's just the client. Maybe it is just the client. Let me see. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, so to kind of jump on that real quick, I think I agree, especially when it comes to like you said, like the client, because objectively the the Pokemon Pocket client is just way better. I don't think anyone would object to that. And I think for me personally, there's definitely a frustrating element in the sense that I would love to see those kind of resources and effort put into Live, especially now that like we know it exists, right? Leading up to Pocket, it was just kind of, yeah, this is Live, and they don't put much time and effort into it, and it's like that, it just is what it is. But it's like, after seeing, it's like, okay, but you can put that time and effort into it, and it's like you have the ability to, you have the resources, you're already kind of doing it, right? It's like that part is frustrating for sure. I think as well, again, anecdotally, because again, I don't have data for it either. I know a lot of people that were not interested in the Pokemon TCG. That same thing, right? It was like a gateway drug for them. They're more engaged and like looking to start playing the the Pokemon game or like the TCG proper. But I think one of the main hurdles is the TCG Live client, as well as the fact that, and I try to tend not to be too negative on the channel, but one of the things I don't love is they've made a lot of like negative quality of life for new player changes very recently, in a way that it's like, why would you make these changes right at the dawn of you introducing Pocket to try to get more people to play it? Like, it's just such a weird decision to me.
It's because they hate our guts. Also, speaking of hating guts, I hate your guts because of this freaking jamming tower. I'm just gonna tell you right now, I have no way of getting rid of that. Luckily, I still have some energy removal with Lugia, but
I kind of forgot that was in the deck until I played it.
Well, I saw you dropped one early game, and I was like, God, I hope that's the only one.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it. I also forgot how many fans you run, so I was like, oh, well, good thing I kept that around.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna take out this Grin, but this all rests on a single coin.
we grab one more prize card.
So my friend was watching me play Pocket over my shoulder, and I wasn't like, "Hey, watch me play this game." She was just like looking, and she does UX design, and she was like, "Oh wow, what a top deck." She was like, "That's a good looking."
Wow, what a top deck.
Yeah, for real, for the content. She was like, "That's a good looking game," and I was like, "God damn it!" Like, why can't we have nice things like on the side that actually matters?
Yeah.
It's crazy to me how quickly some Pocket channels are growing. Also, I think it's a lot of people who have moved from like they were like Marvel Snap players. Like there's people I'm not familiar with at all that are like uh really big channels now. Um and then I tried to put out a Pocket video or two, and it like didn't get that great of a reception.
Oh
And
yeah,
then I
all
realized
mine
like
bombed.
what?
I said all mine bombed.
Yeah, I think we'd have to start entirely new channels. I think the audiences are just completely different.
Yeah, I think there's
Right?
definitely.
Nice.
Oh
All right.
jeez. All right, that's well. I have Evie on the bench.
Wow, that's weird. I got a new pop-up. It told me oh, of course my dog's barking and I didn't close the door. It asked me, I've selected more energy than required. Am I sure I want to continue? You don't usually get pop-ups after playing this game for a while. I need to just step away for 2 seconds to close my door.
Yeah, you're all good. I'm gonna continue to play.
Okay, I'm back.
All right.
But
Grab the Noctowl.
if I had the time, I'd make a Pocket channel, but I don't. And also, you have to like invest money to have a Pocket channel, and
Oh yeah.
that's not why I like. Literally, if we were on PTCGO, and this is, I will give them props for the economy. If we were still on PTCGO, I would not have a YouTube channel because I'd have to spend money to trade for like these random rogue cards all the time, and it just like it would probably take the joy out of it. Um, which I remember. Speaking of again, Dark Integral Gaming, I think he had like a cracked account that, or maybe not cracked, but like I think like the Pokemon Company or whoever made PTCGO like gave him an account that had every 4 copies of every card.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I mean that's sweet.
they should do that. Like we're literally promoting their game for free, so like they should do that for
Oh
us.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of the one of the things like I wish they would do that. I just don't have a ton of faith that they ever would. Um,
Yeah, that's one of my catchphrases is why would anything good ever happen?
I think one of the things that's kind of crazy, like thinking about it, because I haven't really thought about the old client. It's like it's crazy to think how much like even I do it. Like I complain about the new client, but the old one was so much worse.
Not even the economy. People I think have like rose-colored glasses. This one's a little bit worse with like it shoves the card in your face every time you draw and like a little annoying things like that. But like it's not like the old one was like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a game with good graphics, but I don't game that hard. I couldn't think of anything. But you know what I mean? Like it's not like it was like Pocket.
No, the old one
Even.
was so bad. Specifically, like again, like you said, like the economy, like the fact that you couldn't craft. There was just like a black market of what you had of packs you had to trade in order to get any card you were like actually looking for. Like
Yeah.
I remember like all right, I needed like what was like shaman, like
Oh my god,
the
Shaman
shaman
and
to draw.
Arceus.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the shaman to draw cards. I forget what the wasn't it just like startup or something like that was its ability?
Yeah,
Um
it was like I don't remember the packs or whatever, but it would probably be like $35 worth of packs to be able to like get one card.
Yeah, and you were just like black market trading in order to try to do it. It was like you're buying code cards to try to get somebody to give you one because your chances of actually opening one were worse. So it's like it was an awful experience.
All right, I'm glad we got all the tails out of the way. Now I can hit all these heads.
No, my luck
No way
will
I hit 3 tails in a row.
nah,
That would be crazy.
it'll happen. 50-50 odds every time. Nope. All right, that's fine.
I don't think the type matters. I don't feel like thinking too hard about this, so
You don't
Darkness.
evolve anything, so it makes no
Oh,
difference.
actually, you know what? The psychic one. My bad. The psychic one actually did matter.
It's okay. I had another one, for what it's
Cool.
worth.
All right. I swear to all the people, when I play and I'm not talking, I play way better. But people always ask me why I misplayed, and I always put in the description of every single one of my videos, I misplayed because I'm stupid and I'm distracted by trying to entertain you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the biggest things.
Wow.
Wow, that's pretty lucky. That's definitely one of the biggest things. Is like again, I love the YouTube community, but I think people who don't record don't know how hard it is to talk and play at the exact same time.
Yeah, and not only that, but they'll be like, you play slow. And I'm like, I'm explaining the strategy. If I wasn't explaining the strategy, I would have just like clicked end turn or whatever. So be
Yeah,
nice. Just chill.
it's like I also could be playing much faster if I was just clicking buttons. But I'm like sitting here trying to explain like what's gonna happen, what our opponent wants to do, why we're making the choices that we're making. It's like it's hard.
Sure. It is. And I have like an issue with not multitasking in general, but like if I can't do two of these three things at the same time. Type or write, read, and talk.
Mm.
So like I can't like read, a card. Oh, let's read the card while I'm also trying to explain something or, whatever. Um shoot, let's see. I think that's my last Lugia down there. Wait, yep, there's two down there. Well, this is what we're gonna do then. I don't think I'm gonna have to bring out the turtle, but you never know. And we'll give him that just in case you're gonna try to stall me out of winning the game.
That was gonna be my play because you have 4 cards left in deck.
Yeah. Not gonna let you do that. We're gonna go ahead and Super Rod and Todd. 1, 2. You know what? Screw it. Let's put a burn on it. We'll get all three back. We don't even need them. Kablam! Look at Lugia. Wow.
Lugia coming through. I got the Iono coming in very strong.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about the card game again. I do like the comeback mechanics, although I think it's been a little sloppily done sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that I think of is Charizard EX,
Oh
just
yeah,
because
for
like
sure.
it already starts off good and then has energy acceleration. So, like, you can either be already strong, have good energy acceleration, or comeback potential, but don't give them all three. It was like the same thing with Lugia V Star, where it's like all of these things were already good. Did you really have to give it stadium bumps also?
Yeah, I think the balancing for okay. I like the balancing for the Pokemon TCG a lot more than many other games because of the fact that like the weakness system exists, so it does allow for counterplay and things like that.
Interesting. I'm a weakness hater, but I'm not gonna rain on your parade. Continue.
No, so we're welcome to get into it. I like the weakness system because it does allow for a more diverse metagame. Wow, what a top deck.
Oh God.
Um,
Oh, okay. I'm fine with that. Well, sort of. We'll see. I thought it was
um,
gonna be a DTE.
Jokes on you.
Oh my God, dude. Let me guess,
um,
you have boss in hand too.
I do, but it doesn't matter because I don't do like any damage.
Uh, are you
Um,
doing under 110?
yeah. Well,
That's
maybe.
ideal. Well, all right, we might be running out of time. I'm just going to tell you real quick. The reason I don't like weaknesses is because I don't like auto losses. And I know weaknesses aren't necessarily an auto loss because other things can happen, but it definitely like adds, you know, percentage points to the odds. And oh my God. I'm I think I'm going to play it safe and just retreat. I don't have the DTE problems like you do, so I
Yeah.
think I think we go on with some turtle on turtle violence.
I
Um,
need I need to draw a Pokemon, like a basic.
I think I have one more Iono in the deck. Um, but I didn't get it. So, uh, let's see if there's something worth Arvening for. I think I'm done with the hammers. Ah,
But yeah, so I agree the auto loss thing is like annoying for sure. And that can happen because of weakness. I think that like there are ways to still like play and be okay. Um, all right,
okay. Do you have a Pokemon?
I don't, but I just have to hope you don't have an energy in hand.
Well, do you want spoilers?
I'm gonna guess that you do.
I, in fact, do have an energy in hand.
Then it didn't matter what I. Oh, I guess I could have gone for the other Tropicos.
Yeah.
That would have been the play.
Would that have been game? Let's see. I get one energy down. I don't have a switch in deck. Um, you'd attack it for what? 100?
Yeah,
And then you'd attack. Well, you'd get another chance. No, because even if you did 120, I have two energies in hand, so I'd still be able to retreat it.
yeah. So no matter what, it was over.
Oh, okay.
Very very close.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if we wrapped up the weakness discussion, but I just I I feel like I don't know. I don't know. I will say I kind of like how Pocket deals with weaknesses. Like just a little bit of extra damage, but don't make it double.
Yeah. So my thing on why to kind of give a closing argument for weaknesses, the reason why I personally like it is because it, as long as it's done relatively correctly. So like let's take Charizard EX for example. The reason why Charizard EX is so oppressive is because it has a weakness, but it's almost like it doesn't, because there's nothing that's playable that's grass.
And even if there was, I feel like people would just start putting like Entei's in or Entei rather, or something else. Or, like
My thing
I
is
can't even like a random other Charizard EX.
my thing is like I think that if you add an extra like random Charizard EX to hit the grass one for like weakness, I think that's also fine because the regular Charizard EX kind of sucks.
This
So
is true.
it's
I think he also has a very expensive attack,
yeah, and
which is classic Charizard mode. Which is why the Terra one makes no sense. It's like, it's a tradition that Charizard is an expensive attacker.
yeah. I disagree completely with how they designed Charizard EX, like the Terra one, obviously. I disagree with its design. I think it does 180 is too much damage for what it does. Like even as a starting point, because again, if anything gets KO'd at all, like think back to like the Chen Pao era, if anything gets KO'd at all, you're like already one-shotting stuff. And it's
Right.
like it's supposed to be this late game comeback card, but it's good from the moment the game begins. Which I think is a little bit too strong. But in general, it's like let's take I think the game would be in a healthier spot if fighting had a better deck and if grass had a better deck. If those two things existed, I think we'd be in a really healthy spot, even
I
with the
think,
current landscape.
yeah, they should design cards and set releases ideally to make sure every type has a strong deck at all times.
Yeah,
Let's say Charizard rotates out and there's no more good darkness cards. Like the moment it rotates out, that next set there should be a really good darkness attacker.
yeah, and because that's the thing, I think that's where weakness allows the metagame to become more diverse. Because now again, Charizard is an example where it's a little bit oppressive, because there's not something that actually capitalizes on that weakness very much. It's also why I don't really love the dragon typing in this game.
Sans Fairy, like since Fairy's been gone.
Yeah, because there's no weakness for it, and so again, like a card like like let's take like Dracopult for example, right? It's never been the best deck, but that's just because other really strong things have kind of been holding it back. Now that like Badoo's around and it can play slower, hitting that 310 range is actually like pretty difficult. And I think that's the other thing is like weakness is good, and like the reason why I'm okay with it doubling is because if you're playing that counter matchup, some decks like the HP has just gotten so high,
Yeah.
and damage hasn't really evened out that for some decks, again, let's use Charizard for example, part of why it's so broken is that it's hitting those really high damage numbers for nothing. But nothing else can
And
really
psychic
do
is
that.
like a pretty popular typing as well, and it hits a lot of psychic weakness.
Yeah.
Okay, well you've sold me in theory. In an alternative universe where there's good decks for every type at all times, weakness is okay. In reality, I'm still against weakness, but at least now I can conceptualize a world where it's a good idea.
If the
So,
Pokemon
thank you for
Company
that.
did its job, we would all be in a better world.
Yes.
But anyway, that's gonna wrap it up though. Definitely a very fun discussion. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah, we'll definitely do some more stuff in the future. Thank you guys all for watching. I really appreciate it. You know, let me know what you thought, and if there's any questions that you have for either one of us, you know, we'll be down in the comments and stuff like that. Thank you guys all so much for watching again. I really appreciate it, and I will see everybody in the next video. Peace.